Ladies and gentlemen,
oh gosh, boy.
What's up, everybody? It's your local favorite guys right here on the Here Goes Nothin podcast on our Friday night live stream. What's up, everybody? Today we starting on time. Punctuality is key as we continue to give you good service. It's your boys, the Bricklayers, with our Friday night live stream, the Here Goes Nothin podcast, bringing you all the goodness. Tonight we got a special show. We're going to be talking about credit, the importance of credit, why everybody should know their credit score. We have in the building tonight with us Dawn Clark, a.k.a. the Credit Diva. So right now we're giving you a quick mix. We'll let my DJ Ron get busy for a little bit, and then we're going to bring on Dawn, and we're going to get into some credit business. So right now, everybody, just want to welcome you to the show. It's the Friday night live stream. Here Goes Nothin with the Bricklayers.
Come shake it, side. Bend back for the right. Girl, bitch, you kid, side.
Hey, yo!
I whining on all woman. Girl, you whining like you're looking man. I whining on all woman. Girl, you whining like you're looking man. Bend back for the job. 6:30 for job.
I think we're going to have a good show tonight. I think we're going to be blessed tonight.
6:30 for job.
And in case you didn't know, this is 100% Vice International, bringing you the job. Wine pon me, yeah.
Wine pon me, girl. I'm whining on all woman. Girl, you're whining like you're looking.
What you got for us tonight, Rondo?
I'm whining on all woman.
I think I'm gonna play some soca. A little bit of soca.
Okay, we can get with that.
I spread in the pan.
We can wine up tonight.
I see sexy girl. She whining down from the floor to the ground. I bend it back pan. She push it on me and I push it back on her and the girl bump. I went to the job. 6:30 for job.
Hope everybody had a good week.
Job.
I don't think it was nothing too crazy going on this week. It's been quiet. All the cold air is gone. We back to our regular scheduled program of nothing but heat and humidity. I'm telling you. I love being able to put on my little hoodie. What's up, everybody? The number to call is up. You can call in tonight if you have questions about your credit, how to fix it. And Dawn, the Credit Diva, will be here to answer those. In the meantime, between time,
Wine up for the job. 6:30 for job. Wine up for the job. To the left, right. Indicator left, right. Indicator right now, left, right. Girl, bubble palm me now, left.
Smooth sailing tonight.
Right, left, indicator left now.
All right,
Check,
everybody. Check. Tonight, We have a special guest in the building. We have Dawn Clark, aka the Credit Diva, here to talk to us about money matters and the importance of credit. Want everybody to give a warm welcome, a very warm welcome for our good friend, the Credit Diva.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. How's it going, Dawn? How you doing there?
I'm blessed, man.
Yes.
I just want to say we're happy to have you on.
Very, very.
For helping us continue to make this show better and better every week. And I think, it just gets better.
Yes, sir.
So we're here tonight to talk about credit.
Awesome.
Yes, credit. Very important. I never, growing up, ever thought that almost everything depended on credit. Jobs, insurance, which I don't know. It's crazy, man. Everything is based on credit. And we're glad to have you here so you can shed a little light about this thing we call credit and how important it is. And why we were never made aware of this growing up. Things like that, you know what I'm saying? So you have the floor. Introduce yourself and, all that good stuff.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much. Listen, I am so grateful that you all asked me to join you tonight. But more than that, I'm grateful for what you're doing in our community. Giving back this way, starting us off with a nice sip of beverage and some good vibes, and then opening up our weekend where we're able to learn and grow is really what it's about. So thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate your effort. I'm glad to be here. Thank you. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dawn Clark. I am the Credit Fix Diva. You can find me at creditfixdiva.com. And my job here tonight is to unlock some gems and drop some jewels for you, especially as it relates to credit. Because a lot of people, I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. I've been in Florida more than 20 years, and I've been in and out of real estate, in and out of professions. I've had my own businesses as an entrepreneur. And everyone is, when you don't have credit, you make ways around it, right? And so I remember my mom, her first house, she paid 17% interest on her first house. So those of you who have ever purchased a house, that should be mind blowing to you. And the reason that she did that is because she did not have a good credit score, right? Nobody talked about credit when she purchased her house when I was 5 years old. Now, she owned houses, she owned cars, she had good jobs, my dad too, but everybody worked on cash. And so that knowledge, right, or the lack thereof, was never passed down to us. So that's why this show and what I do and what other people like me do is critically important. It's not about, making a killing doing credit. That's not what it's about. It's about empowering people to make good decisions every day about how they're using credit. But you're right. Most people don't learn about credit, don't hear about credit. And it's kind of this fear, you don't know how to get to it. You need it, but what do I do? And that's why I'm here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
so am I going to be taking some live calls? Because I was on Facebook just a little bit ago, and we're going to take some live questions, right?
Yeah, if they call in, yeah.
If they call in, otherwise we will just give you our questions.
Okay, that's fine. So go ahead and share the telephone number because I don't know it.
Oh, okay. It's going to post it for you.
Number.
Awesome.
It is...
That's a good question. Do you know it offhand?
It's 786
okay.
531. He's going to post it on there so everybody can see it. 786-531. Shoot, I can't remember. Hold on.
Okay.
Just
so I need y'all to give that to me because I'm actually live on Facebook as well.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me give it to you. See, that's very unprofessional of us. Sorry. Hold on.
It's all right. It's just sip a little bit. We ain't running no uptight ship tonight. We having a good time tonight.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. All right. It is 786 531 9375. I'll say it again. 1-786-531-9375. Black is going to go ahead and put that on our podcast screen so whoever's watching can get that. Did you get it, Dawn?
Awesome. I got it.
As soon as I can find it.
So
Eyes are playing tricks on me right
You'll
now.
get there. You'll get there. No sweat. So if you're on Facebook and you shared this to your feed, my Facebook followers know where to find me. If you have a question you want me to answer live, you can call that number. All right.
There
So
we go.
let's talk about credit. So I posted today, and so I loved when you open up for me. You said credit is you have to have credit for everything, and so I had literally just posted this morning something about credit. To get a cell phone, you need credit. To get a job, to rent an apartment, to buy a house, to get a loan, to get a promotion in some jobs, to finance a funeral. Hello.
Wow.
You need
Yeah.
credit.
That's crazy.
So there is no element of your life that you will successfully go from cradle to grave without credit. In some way, fashion, or form, you need it. Now, if you needed to buy a car and you don't have any, right? Because no credit is just as bad as terrible credit. You're going to pay top dollar, and they're going to want cash out of pocket. So if you're trying to big ball style going to the Mercedes-Benz dealership down in Coral Gables, they're going to look at you sideways, and you come in there talking about your credit score of 480 and you want to drive a 550. All right. You can't buy steam off a hot dog. So we want to make sure that we are putting ourselves in the right position. Whether you ever use it, wholesale, you want to do everything on credit? No. But there are some things you want to pay cash for, and there's some things you want to finance. But the problem is, if you don't have credit, you're going to put yourself behind the 8 ball. So we want to get you in the right position. So do you want me to start? And I don't know how long you want me to be on, but I'm going to, I think, start by just telling people quickly what makes up their credit.
You open it out however you feel. It's on you. You have the floor.
Go for it.
Okay, so I'm just going to do this very quickly. A lot of people don't know how their credit is calculated. So let me just give it to you quickly. 35% is your payment history. That is how you pay. That is, if you miss a payment, that's your credit history, your payment history, right? It's one element, 35%. The next largest chunk is the amount you owe. So if you owe $100,000 in credit, that's 30% of your score. So if you have available credit at 0, but your credit limits are 1,000, then your utilization, right, is 100. That's bad, right? So amount owed and how you pay that credit is 65% of your score. So if you're looking at anything below a 700, those two things are probably going to be number 1 and number 2. Very, very high, very big issue with your credit. The next largest thing is the length of your credit history. So if you're just starting out and your mom and dad didn't put you as a secondary owner of their credit card, like I recommend that all of my parents do. If you have children over the age of 16 and they are not on your good credit card lines, you need to add them tomorrow. Put that on your list, right? So if you have good credit or a credit score that's over 700 or close, put your children on your credit card. Don't give them the card, but put them on the card, because when they go off to college, when they go to buy their first car, they're not going to have to struggle with bad credit. That's the first tip. All right. That's 15% though, length of credit. For me, my credit is just as old as the hair on my chin, right? Because I started college a whole bunch of years ago. So I had a credit score way back then, and my credit history started back then. So length of credit, 15%. The next amount down, 10%, is the type of credit. So you need a good mix of credit. You need credit cards, you need retail cards, you need student loans, mortgages, car loans, etc. Personal lines of credit also. So when you go to buy a house and you say, I got this one credit card that I've been paying on, aren't you proud of me? They're going to look at you like you're insane.
But why?
Because most underwriters want to see responsible use of all of these factors for at least 4 lines of credit. So
from what I understand, what I learned is that you want to have the credit and just you don't want to use it though. So you don't
blue. No, sir.
Like you want to utilization
use it responsibly.
Yeah, responsibly. You don't want to max out the cards. You want to be able to have 10 cards, but at a 2 or some percent utilization to show that you have the credit and you're responsible with it, and you just not. Because I see a lot of people talking about they don't have credit cards and they think that's a good thing. They don't have no credit and they don't have no this. And then they don't realize that you actually need that to have credit when it comes time to buy something big.
Absolutely true. And let me tell you, most of us in our communities think, oh, I don't do credit, thinking it's a bad thing.
Yep.
Right. But if you live here in South Florida, you live in New York, you live any place, and you try to go get an apartment, you're going to get your butt handed to you, because they're going to be like, tell me your credit score. And you're going to be like, I have none. Right. So you're exactly right. You want to make sure that you have credit, but that you're using it responsibly. Very good. So types of credit use, 4 of them is ideal for when you go to look for a house. If you're going to buy a house or investment property and you're trying to pay for it yourself, you want to make sure that you're doing 4 lines of credit. And we'll talk about those 4 lines in just a second. The final thing, 10% of your score is new credit. So if you have a 15-year-old card and a 1-year-old loan, that's going to bring your average age of accounts down a little bit until that new loan starts creeping up in age, right? Because age of credit is important. That makes up 100%, right? With 35% being your payment history, that is, make your payments on time, and 30% being your amounts owed. Huge.
Makes sense.
Okay. So a lot of people always say, how can I protect or improve my score, right?
Yes, definitely.
And they always say that. Let me tell you, I talk to credit clients or prospective clients. I talk to about 150 of them a week. A lot of questions about how do I fix it in 30 days. And I talk to people that are my age or a little bit younger, and I always laugh. And they're like, why are you laughing? And I'm like, you just told me your score was sub 500, but you want me to fix it in 30 days. You need Jesus. You need a miracle, right? Because I just told you that age of accounts and history is a big part of your credit, right? So don't come to me talking about you need to buy a house in 30 days. I'm gonna say, go ahead and pray about that and get yourself on the pole because you're gonna need cash. I'm just keeping it real tonight, right? So the biggest issue is people always say, I want it now, right? And if you've got a bad credit, I guarantee you it didn't happen today or in the last 30 days. So first and foremost, the best way to improve your score is to be patient with the process. Patience. I'm going to give you that one for free. Be patient. Now, a couple things you can do. First, always know what's on your credit report, right? You have the right to get a free credit report from each of the 3 bureaus. By the way, I'm going to give you another sneak tip as the way I think. All of these bureaus are publicly traded. Make some money while they're making money off you. So I own FICO. I own Dun & Bradstreet, right? These companies are publicly traded. So if you're on Robinhood or Stash or Cash App, if you're investing in Cash App, make sure you buy some of their stock. All right, that's separate and aside. I can go on all of day about that.
We'll take that nugget.
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely.
So make sure you're trading on the money. Make sure you're getting money as they get your money, right? Because they get paid to put bad things on your credit.
Correct. Yeah.
So the first thing is make sure you know what's on your credit. You can get 1 a year for free at annualcreditreport.com. That gives you your actual FICO score. And that is on the scale that most retailers and mortgage companies will use and car companies, et cetera. That's the kind of the gold standard, the FICO score. Now there also was Vantage 3.0, and there's all types of FICO scores, 2, 4. They're all models, right? They're all ways to score you. So you want to make sure that you're getting from annualcreditreport.com, you're pulling your credit once a year. That's free. You'll have to put in a credit card to validate that or debit card to validate who you are, but it's free. Make sure you get that.
I get mine every year.
Right. You can also use Credit Karma to monitor what's on your credit. If you have credit cards, make sure you sign up for their monitoring services as well. You want to make sure that you're checking your credit. I literally, because this is my job, I'm obsessed. I look at my credit in the morning. Right after I brush my teeth, as I'm making my coffee, I make sure ain't nobody took my good credit score and dropped it into the gutter, right?
I got a quick question.
Yep, I'm with you.
How effective is Credit Karma, and why is there such a big difference between Credit Karma and Experian? Why you can have like a 750 on Credit Karma and then you go on Experian and you got a 7.9 or something like that?
Yeah, so it's a different scoring model. So that's just it. As I just talked about the FICO scores that I just talked, the percentage of credit, kind of that formula. Every one of the scores is different. In fact, FICO has about 30 different scores that they can use. Right. So between FICO and Vantage, which are the top 2 models that are currently in use, there is a variation. If you're interested in how they translate to each other, I'd be glad to share that. But there is a variation. What I use it for is a benchmark, right? So if I'm going to Credit Karma, I know that Credit Karma is going to be about 30 points lower than my FICO score. Okay. Or 30 higher, depending on whether you're looking at Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion. So just know that you're using that scoring model as a guide. It's not what you're going to drop your money at the car dealership about. That's the FICO score. But that's a good question. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. You did.
It's just a
Yes,
scoring
you did.
model. Yep. It's just a guidepost. All right. So the first thing is check your credit and be patient. The second thing is pay your bills on time. I know this seems self-explanatory, but here's a nugget I'm going to give you. I was just talking to somebody about this today. And every time I talk to people about their credit cards and how to pay them, they are like mind blown. And I keep saying I'm going to do a podcast, but I haven't. All right. So here it is.
Here's your chance.
Here it is. Take your credit card, use it, right? Pay your cell phone bill, pay your car insurance, whatever you can put on it, put on it. Make sure you make your minimum payment. So if your minimum payment is, if you owe $300 and your minimum payment is $19, make your minimum payment before it's due. What I tell my clients is put it on auto draft out of your savings account and then make sure you're truing up your savings account so that you can cover that payment. Never, ever miss your minimum payment. That's the first piece of it. Then when you're looking at your statement, it says statement date April 1st, right? Or April 16th to May 15th. That's the statement date, right? So you got your due date and you got your statement date. I believe, and the scoring model trues this up, your statement date is critically important because it's the day that your available credit and your payment history is reported to the credit bureaus. So if you made your $20 payment for your minimum payment, but you didn't pay down your balance on your statement balance, they're going to report that you made that payment, yes, but that you're overutilizing that card if it's greater than, you ready for this, 3%. Now,
Wow.
Okay.
That's almost automatic then.
You got to do it. Now, you'll hear a lot of people talk about 30%, right? How many have you all heard that? Pay it down to 30%, no more than 30%?
Yes.
That's an outright miscommunication of the strategy. The sweet spot that you want to be in if you're trying to build your credit is between 1 and 10%, with the majority of people in the 800s being at 3% of usage on a monthly basis. 3%, not 30%.
So
Now,
why would they tell us 30?
Because 30 is where it gets bad.
Oh.
You don't want bad, you want great. So over 30 tells a story that you cannot manage your money. 0 tells a story that you're afraid to manage your money. And the sweet spot is between 1% and 10%, with 3% being the percentage of the highest FICO scores in the country. All keep it at right around 3%.
Wow.
Statement date, get it to 3%. Never miss your minimum due date. Make sure you pay that at least 2 days before your statement date. You don't want to mess up. So I know that people get lazy about their credit cards, right? We all do. I've been there. You always want to auto draft your minimum payment and then put it on your calendar. Everybody thinks they're going to remember. Nobody remembers. Put it on your calendar, your statement date minus 2 days, put it on there every single month and pay that card down as far as possible above 0. Huge. Most folks don't do that. And most folks want to argue me about it. I tell them, come back to me when your credit score is above a 750 like mine, and let's talk about the strategy again. All right. So that's pay your bills on time. Questions about that? Y'all quiet over there. Y'all okay?
No,
we good.
when we're learning.
I'm listening. I got some questions.
We're learning right
I
now.
got a ton of questions.
Okay.
Why don't you get into inquiries? Where does that fall in the line? Like people getting a lot of inquiries on their report, and how when you go to buy a car, they're shopping you around and you get all these inquiries and your score drops, and getting those off.
Yeah. All right. So inquiries. Everyone always wants talking about inquiries. You know how much inquiries are worth?
5 points?
Less than 2. That's part of the new credit number. So new credit, the number I gave you, 10% of your score, inquiries in the first 12 months that you get them are worth less than 2%. When people ask me about inquiries, I tell them, let me talk to you about your utilization. Now, let me answer your question. If your credit score is in a good position, you should go into any buying position other than obviously a mortgage, because you can't go in there prepay, with a cash offer. But anytime your credit score is in the place where you want it, you should be able to go to anybody, your credit union, your bank, and say, hey, listen, I want to go buy a car. I need to make a cash offer. And they will write you a check to pre-approve you so that they're not pulling your credit 15, 20 times. Now, if the other thing is, and a lot of people are confused about this, if I remove inquiries for a positive account, guess what happens to that positive account?
Goes down?
It gets removed too, because the inquiry has an index that links the accounts that were placed on your credit or turned down. So if it's on your credit, it has an inquiry attached to it. And if it's not on your credit, you got the inquiry still attached to something. If I remove the negative inquiries, if I remove the inquiries from accounts that are currently on your account and positive, those accounts come off your credit. So a lot of people think it's a slam dunk. They got 32 inquiries. The first thing I tell them is stop smoking crack and get off the inquiry train. Stop applying for credit. And if I may, nobody should be applying for anything until your credit is fixed, until you get your credit in good spot. Stop it. You're not going to get approved. Stop it. Right. And that's how I talk to my clients, and those that want to deal with me, they do. And because this is the truth. Inquiries are worth 2% in the first 12 months. After 12 months, that percentage drops a little bit each month until it gets to 0. And then at 2 years, the inquiry drops off. So you never want to just go inquiry crazy. Now, if there is an account that you've had removed or that is negative and you want it removed, going after inquiries is smart. But you don't want to do that until you've gone to try to clean up your request, your payment history be updated, request that your amount owes be updated properly, until you pay down your utilization. All of those things come first, and then let's talk about inquiries. Good question, though.
Okay.
Less than 2%.
And what do you say? Oh, go ahead. You have something for us?
Nope, come on.
Well, I was going to say, what do you say to people? I got two things. One, like on Credit Karma, how do you feel about when like there's constant suggestions like to improve your credit, and it seems like they want to give you a credit card, but to me it's like, I don't know, I never click on it. Do those things work? Are they effective?
Ask me how Credit Karma makes money.
Okay.
Their revenue stream is roughly 70% referrals from those little things that they encourage you to click.
So don't click.
Don't click.
Okay.
The only time you should be shopping for credit is once your credit is excellent and you're now looking to season it and get better credit lines. But Credit Karma, I love it because it gives me a good glimpse as to what's happening. But I hate it because people unknowingly think, oh my God, I'm going to get myself a new credit card. And they look at it and it's like $300 credit limit and it's 27% interest. And it's a card that's crap, and you got to pay an annual fee, right? All these things.
Annual fee, man. Whew.
So they actually get paid 70% of their revenue comes from you clicking those ads.
Wow.
Moment of silence. It is about money, folks. It is about money. Don't click them. Good question.
All right. What do you have?
All right. The next thing. So we talked about checking your credit. We talked about paying on time. And I gave you those little tricks to paying your credit cards down and keeping them at 3%. Pay off any collections. Now, this one is tricky because my recommendation is that you always try to get collections removed by leveraging the Fair Credit Reporting Act of 1971 before you pay any collections. All right. So you want to make sure that you're trying to clean your credit before you pay anything off. And I'm going to say that again, because I can guarantee you, and it's happened to me, when I have mistakenly paid something that I didn't want to pay that was in collections, it actually sits on your credit as a derogatory paid. So even though it shows as zero balance, that's great if you're going to buy a house because it increases your debt to income ratio, right? I mean, it decreases it, so that's good, but it's still showing as a derogatory. So even if you paid all 13 of your charge-offs or collections off, without getting them removed, it's going to show as a zero balance derogatory, which actually is bad for the purposes of building your credit. So you want to make sure that you try to get negative items removed first, and then you can talk to somebody, and then you can do the research on how to make a paid for delete request or how to make a settlement offer in exchange for deletion. But the first thing you want to do always is try to dispute it off your credit, either by yourself or with the help of a professional. All right. So that is 4 of the things I wanted to share with you.
I see a lot of stuff online always telling you not to settle and not to pay your collections.
Yep. Until you get it removed.
Okay. So that's what that's about. The goal is to just get it removed completely.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And then I got just one more. Don't close any paid off accounts. So if you have a credit card that gets on your nerves, and I've got one, listen, I had a Credit One card when I had a 430 credit score. Full disclosure, we being transparent, right? But that card was 12 years old. So my payment history was good on that card, and it was positively impacting my length of credit. You feel me? So why delete it? Why close it? What I did was I called and said, I don't want to pay any more minimum payment or any more annual payments. Can I get my annual payment removed? And they said no. And I said, I'd like to close my account. And they said, well, we have this other product we can put you in that's $20 lower per year. And I said, great, sign me up. So what happens is they just transferred me from one product of theirs to another product. I kept my length of credit. I kept that open account. And let me tell you what actually happened to one of my cousins. She's a real estate investor in Columbus. And 2 years ago, she called me and she said, Koo, that's my nickname, Koo. She said, Koo, girl, I'm about to buy this new house, but I need to get my debt to income down. And I said, all right, what's your plan? She said, I'm going to pay off my car. And I said, don't close your car payment. She said, why? And I said, because as soon as you close it, your score is going to tank. She was right at a 780, 790. She called me back after she's like, well, I'm going to just do it because my mortgage broker. I said, okay, cuz let me know. She closed it. Her score went down 60 points.
Wow.
Because remember, that negatively impacted her average age of accounts. It was one of her oldest lines of credit. So her average age of account went down because it's only calculated on open accounts, which tanked her credit score.
Yeah, that happened to me. Like when I did a personal loan for my credit union, I was paying it off. It was fine, and as soon as I paid it off, they closed the account and everything. Then my credit dropped, and I thought that was going to help, and I just couldn't understand it. Like, okay. I left them in good standings, never missed a payment, was never late. I finished paying it off. Why is my credit down now? Now it makes sense. Now I understand it. That's crazy.
Average age of accounts and length of credit history, both of which took a dip. And by the way, those 2 items are 25% of your score. So you would think that it would look better.
Yeah.
But if you're going to buy a house or you're putting yourself in position, you're trying to raise your credit score, you need to do all the things I just talked about before you even consider paying off or closing a current open account. Get the house or the car first, then close the account, right? And if you need more income, if you need to decrease your debt to income ratio, guess what you need to do? Make more money. Pick up a hobby that you get paid for.
Sounds like a big
Start a
game,
podcast.
Man. Sounds like a big game, this whole credit thing.
It is a big game, but it's an algorithm.
It's American way.
Win. Huh?
Say it's an American way.
It is. And you can't do anything about it. You can't get around it, right? Now, there's lots of ways that you can. If you're a business owner, you can run your business expenses through your business and not have to personally guarantee, and you can probably get away with having bad credit. But that's a long road, right? And there's a specific way to do that. So certainly you can kind of skirt the system, but it's you've got to master it. Don't think that you can just skirt it. Instead, go ahead and master it.
All right. So
what other questions do you have?
Let's talk about the process.
Yep.
Well, why don't you tell us what's the biggest results you've gotten from doing somebody's or repairing somebody's credit, like from where to where?
So I'll preface this by saying your mileage may vary, right? I've got 21 credit cards. So if I'm helping someone with one credit card that they've overspent and missed all these payments, their score is going to move in a different pace and right at a different speed than mine would if I'm repairing my own credit. So I always say, and someone asked me this today, what's the most I can get in 30 days? And I said 30 days more than you have now. Now, It's true because everybody's different, right? I'm a crazy credit person, and some people are lazy credit people, and their scores are going to be different. However, I have seen throughout. I started working again on my credit 3 years ago in May. And it was when I actually started this business and really didn't think I needed it, right? I had my car, right? I had my money. I could do what I wanted to do. I could get any apartment I wanted, but I wanted to just see how far I could go. So I actually was able to move my score 170 points
Wow.
in 2 years, in roughly 2 years. But again, most of what I did, people, was not anything about the negative things. It was about managing the credit that I had open. That was paying my bills on time, keeping my balances low, responsible use of credit. All right. So I'm just saying that is going to be the biggest impact because it's worth 65% of your score. That said, anywhere I had one guy got 90 points. We deleted. I'll tell you about my student loans. That was a big one. I had, if anybody out there is like me and has a monkey on the back student loans, my student loans.
That's
me.
monkey.
That's me.
Exactly. My
Monkey
student
got you
loans, I had
headlocked.
90 pages credit report, 90 pages at one point, because all of my student loans, every time I refinanced them or went into a new product, they left the old loans there. So I had each of them on my credit report 4 times.
Wow.
And y'all know, I don't know how they do it now, but when I started college, they would disperse the loans. So if they gave you 750, that was one loan. And then they gave you 1,200 the next quarter, it was another loan. And that was how I did it. All right. So if they're still doing that,
I don't know if they're still doing it, but I think we're around the same age range. So
okay. So that's how they did it. Well, guess what? I had 90 pages of credit report, and about 80 of those were student loans. And I was like, what the heck? So the first thing I did when I did my credit 10 years ago was to remove all the erroneous and superfluous, the extraneous, if you will, the extra listings of all those student loans. That got me, I don't remember, it was a long time ago, but it was significant, right? Because all of those negative accounts were deleted and I only had left my positive accounts. So again, my credit score is great now because I've had time and I've managed how I use it, but I've had people get the same with their student loans. I had one of my clients, Joe, got 90 points in 30 days because we deleted all of the erroneous student loans off of his report. That probably was my single biggest. I've seen 316 points. But remember, she was under 400, right? So she had a long way to go. Me, I don't have that far to go. So I've got to incrementally get in where I fit in, right? It's different for me because my credit score is good. Hers was really bad, and she had 316 points just by deleting derogatory items.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it was mind-boggling, right? And at the time, she was living on her mom's couch. She was couch surfing, working full-time at a bank, not making no money, So she was like, I need help. And she got the help. And that was her credit score increase, was 316 in 30 days. I have a couple of pointers about getting ready from home ownership, if I can share those.
Yes, please,
Sure.
please.
All right. So take everything I just told you, and use that. That's the first thing. But I've got some habits that you need to put in place. The first is stop spending. Stop it. You don't need new shoes. You don't need new hair. You don't need lashes. You don't need new shirt. Guys, you don't need new jeans. Guys, you don't need a new game. You don't need a new controller. I'm being facetious here, but I'm dead ass serious. Stop spending and start saving what you were spending towards your home.
This is about home, but most of the time, once you meet with a loan officer, they're gonna tell you all these things at the same time. And they like with mine, they went through my credit and they told me exactly what I needed to change and fix and pay and to get to what I needed to get to.
And I can tell you had a really good loan officer if they told you that, because some of my mortgage brokers sit on some of my webinars. I do a Wednesday realtor webinar, and one of them said, let me get this straight. 30% utilization isn't good. So I say that to say, I don't want to beat anybody over the brow because everybody's body of knowledge is a little different. But at the end of the day, you really need to get sage wisdom right? And if you had someone tell you that, that's dope. Most people don't. Most people are just they just pie in the sky. I'm getting my tax return. I'm gonna get a house. Stop it. Stop.
Oh yeah, I hear
And
people tell
I'm
you
gonna get my
all the
hair
time.
done first, right? So I always say, stop spending, start saving. The second thing is make it a family goal. If you're dating someone, right? I have on my Valentine's Day shirt. If you're dating someone or you're married to someone or you've got people in your life that are supportive of you and you of them, everyone should know what you're trying to do. That will deter them from expecting birthday gifts. That will deter them from expecting you to kick it with them over at Nomi's or at Bar One or going to Atlanta for the Super Bowl or right. You want to make sure you make it a family goal. The people that are in your life that support you, let them know what you're trying to do. They will be on your butt to stop it. Even the gym membership that you don't go to, they'll be like, you ain't been at that gym in 6 months. You need to stop paying that $40, right? Make sure you get the support and align people that you love to that goal. That's the second thing. The third thing is go to Google and Google your desired city and these words: first time home buyer and home buyer grants. Use Google to find grants to help you buy houses. Don't go it alone. You don't have to go into your savings. A lot of these grants in Miami offer up to $7,500 free. All you got to do is spend 6-7 hours over the course of your program with them. So it's like 1 hour session here, 1 hour session here, 2 hour session here, and they may ask you to write what you learned, and they're going to give you $7,500.
What?
I missed that one.
Wow.
Right. That's way better than get on the pole.
Nah, that poll money much better. That poll money.
So there's multiple grants out there. You could apply for all of them.
You can apply for it, yes. And some of when you go to like home buyer grants on Google, some of them will hook you up with agencies and they'll actually tell you what all is available. So they'll say, all right, so you're buying in Miami Gardens, or you're buying in Columbus, Ohio, or you're buying in Newark, New Jersey. Here are the area codes that this grant works on. But if you want that zip code, here's another grant.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So do not leave that money on the table. Even if it's $500, get the money. Is that fair?
More than fair.
All right. Next,
That's a nugget.
create a file. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's a nugget. That's a gem.
That's huge. Google first-time home buyer or home buyer grants. You can also go and create a file so that you can track on all the information that you pick up. So don't just write it down in a piece of paper. Put it someplace. If this piece of paper dropped in the trash can or your son took it and did his finger paints on it, guess what's going to happen? All that knowledge is gone. So create a file, digital preferably. Google. I'm a big Google. Create an email for yourself.
Color note.
Exactly. Whatever. Save this information.
That's my go-to
and guess
app.
what? Yes. Yeah. And if you go back to my first thing, which is, my second thing is create a family goal. Everybody can help you with that. Right? So save the information off. Next thing, do not leave. By the way, I always say attack it as a scholarly endeavor. That is to say, remember you were in college or remember you were in 12th grade and you had to write all them notes. Do the same thing, right? All right. Next thing is do not leave money on the table. Exhaust all your resources, right? Please share the information and encourage somebody else. I know you have it. You want to do it yourself. Oh, I'm big and bad. But guess what? You're not. Because there's a whole world of knowledge that you need that you can get help with and that somebody can help you with.
Question.
Finally,
I'm sorry. With these,
I got one more. One more, and then then I'll take your question.
All right.
Do not rush this process. Right? Get your mind right. Take your time. Select your realtor. Select your mortgage partner. Select your other professionals. Select your, based on their experience, not your non-real estate relationship. So if your uncle sells real estate, and your uncle is great at making mac and cheese or bringing you that fire on Saturday night, but he a realtor, but he ain't great at real estate, please just get the mac and cheese and leave the real estate out of it, right?
Yeah, but most people won't know if they're great or not. When you don't have an idea what you're dealing with, you're gonna take advice from almost anybody who most people be faking like they know stuff anyway.
But you have the right to interview them, right? So take your file and say, tell me about this, tell me about that, tell me about this neighborhood. If you got a neighborhood you're working in, go to the people that work in a neighborhood, right? And you can research who you want to work with. I meet with realtors all the time for my investment business, and I'm like, I don't want to work with them. They lazy. Or I don't want to work with them, right? You need to take your time. Don't rush that. And I'm going to just give you this for VA loan people. Do not use a realtor who has not closed any VA loans as your VA loans or your VA realtor. Go to a VA loan specialist, go to a VA realtor, ask them to see their portfolio of what they've done so they can help you through the VA process. It will save you time, money, frustration, and probably your closing. All right, you had a question.
Yes, with these programs and these grants, are there any strings attached after you receive them? None.
No,
It's
a
just
grant is a grant.
that's it. Okay, just like college, you get a grant. And that's it.
Yep, a grant is a grant.
So what do you say to the person that wants to buy a home and their credit's not there? Their first step would be what?
Work on your credit.
Come see you.
Seriously, like don't rush the process. Fix your credit. You can have as low as a 580 credit score for FHA loan, but guess what?
What?
You better have good time on your job. You bet 580, but you better have good time on your job, and you have to have 3% down, right? So the FHA loans are there, and if you have VA or you have FHA, use those, right? But remember, there's tiers in there. So if you're coming for an FHA loan with a 580, your rate is going to be higher than somebody who went in with an 800 leveraging FHA. So that's why I always say credit first. Save your money, credit first. First things first. All right. That answer your question?
Yeah.
Credit first.
And how long should you be concerned with negative items on your credit, like late payments? Should you just wait for those to drop off? Do they actually drop off in 7 years, or should you be trying to get those removed?
So there is no statute that says a derogatory item has to live on your credit for 7 years. The Fair Credit Reporting Act says anything that's derogatory, and if you want to look that up, look up FCRA on the search site of your choice. Basically, it's there to protect you from derogatory and negative and erroneous items on your credit. So, and when I say erroneous, if they say you owe $380.01, but you owe $370.01, guess what? That has to come off your credit. So,
wow.
So the Fair Credit Reporting Act of 1971 was put in place to protect you. You need to leverage that. So I'm not sure if I answered your question, but you want to make sure that your derogatory items come off.
Okay. Can you tell us or tell the people about a good faith letter? Is that effective? I tried it. It didn't work for me. I think I may have typed it wrong, but I did try it. It was not effective.
So some creditors will accept good faith letters and some won't. Let me give you an example of one that won't. If you've ever financed a car through Santander, which only writes C, D, and F paper on car loans, they will never, ever, ever take a derogatory item off your credit report. But if you had a successful relationship with, say, Discover, and you did something terrible with them and you realize, oh crap, I want to get this removed. I want to, I tried to get it removed. They said no. I tried again. They said no. I called. They said no. I tried again. They said no. Write a good faith letter and say, listen, I have been with you guys for 13 years. I'm a faithful user. You can look at my please help me. So good faith letters do work sometimes. I can tell you Chase is really hard to get things removed. If you have any creditors that write, like I said, C, D, or F paper, that is, mediocre loans, they're going to be less likely to honor your good faith letter.
Well, is there any incentive for these companies to provide derogatory information to the credit bureaus? It's like, are they benefiting from it, or they just want to see you suffer?
They get paid.
So the company gets paid. On your credit.
Yeah, the Experian, TransUnion, Equifax all get paid for having those listings, and the reason why is that a secondary source of data for them is your credit usage. So they basically can reverse They can sell your credit data, not your personal data, not your personally identifiable data, but your credit data, right? So they'll say if she owned a Santander account in 1989, and I'm just giving you a round example, then probably by 1994 she's going to be ready she's either done well or she's not done well. And so I'm going to target all the people in this zip code with a capital one at the highest interest rate. So they can use that data, and they get paid for selling that data to companies that need that data, which is why I say, and I'll say it again, if for those of you who weren't on earlier, please go buy stock in FICO, Experian, anything that has to do with credit that you can buy, Dun & Bradstreet, etc., because they get paid money. They are publicly traded companies that get paid money for making you suffer.
And you gave an example like Santander. They do car loans or car loans.
Yep.
Okay. Why would they not want to, let's say take bad payments off of your or stop recording or reporting bad late payments to like the credit bureau? Like what do they get from that? Like let's say you had a year ago you missed like 2 payments or you were late on the 2 payments. If I ask them, can you please remove that? Why would they not want to do that? Do they benefit from that?
They don't have a responsibility to make you happy. I'm not being like, seriously, their job is to make money off of you. And so what typically happens with people who miss payments is that at some point they're going to default. That's generally what happens. If you miss enough payments, you're going to just let it go. And then they're going to sell it to a collection agency that's going to tack on fees. They're going to take a tax write-off for your bad credit, right? So they're going to take billions of dollars of tax write-offs for your bad credit people. And then they're going to resell those. And then that company is going to resell it, and they're going to resell it and resell it. So the bottom line is, studies show that people who typically miss payments will also default on their loans. And then those companies can take that tax write-off at full face value and sell that debt to somebody else and make money, not only on the late payment that you never paid, but also on selling the debt. And then they also get the tax write-off for your bad credit.
Wow.
It's a game, people.
It's a scam,
Master
man.
the game.
That's crazy. And it's legal.
Ooh. Of course it is. And it's necessity. It is, you need credit. So just, they found a way to leverage people not knowing.
So as far as like job, why is credit so important for some jobs?
For some, I could tell you.
I mean, I can understand if you're in the financial field or something like that. But let's say I want to work. I can even give an example, but I just want to understand why the credit is so important. Like car insurance. Well, why do I need credit for car insurance? If I don't pay it, then you just cut me off, right? So why do you care about my credit?
Because they can charge you more money for having a crappy credit.
Yes,
score.
and I don't think that's right.
Welcome to America.
It's not right.
It's
I don't think
the
it's right.
American way.
They can charge you more money.
So it's just an excuse to charge more money. Oh, we're going to provide this service for you, but since you have bad credit, we're going to charge you this.
Well, one, if they know you have bad credit, they know you're going to be a little bit more desperate, so they could really charge you more money because you're going to take it. Like when we were young and we want to get a car, and my first interest rate was 12.5 interest. And most of the time you either just don't know, ignorant to what the credit means, or you're really in a desperate situation. You've been turned down by other people, and now, okay, you really want this? Here, we're going to stick it to you. You can have it.
That's exactly it. And I need you to change hats just for a second and think from a business perspective, right? So credit score is really a measure of your risk. So basically, your low credit score means you're high risk, and they're basically taking out an insurance policy against that by charging you more credit on a monthly basis. That's not a bad thing unless you're the person with bad credit. So, right? I mean, think about it. If you're a business and you're lending out $1 million a month, and that's low, right? Most companies lend way more than that. You don't want to take a risk on a 0% interest rate, this person going to pay you back, right? You need to take, if they have a low, this is a risk factor.
Which means they probably wanted high interest so they can get more money back faster just in case you default because you are high risk.
And it's a risk factor. And if your credit's bad enough, they'll say, we're not giving you any credit. So from the business perspective, I do understand it on the strength of they're taking the risk on giving you money. You can go to El Salvador and live like a queen on, a king or a queen for $20,000 a year, right? So if I'm giving you that money, I need some assurances by your credit score or your interest rate. Think about it from that perspective, which is why it's important to be on the other end of it and be able to walk in and say, I want that car and I need this credit card and I want a 0% interest rate for 24 to 48 months.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to say that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for real.
You can get there though. It just takes time and you got to be patient. That was my first thing. So your questions. What other questions do you have?
So your first thing when you meet with somebody would probably just to review their credit and then start pointing out things.
Yep. So I always talk about what their credit score is that they know of. Some people don't know. Some people are so afraid that they don't even know. And some people do know. So I talk about their derogatory items and I talk about their positive items. A lot of people think that they don't need a credit card or whatever. We talked about that. So I talk about what their positive items are. And if they don't, then I write that down because that's an opportunity for us to grow their credit. So I told you at the top of the call, the top of the podcast about adding your children to your credit report, right? If you have a good credit card, one that you pay regularly, have never been late, add your children to that, and that will help you. So I talk about that. If someone has children or they themselves are married to someone with a great credit score, but theirs is crappy, I say, talk to your husband or wife and have them add you as an authorized user. They activate the card and they can cut it up and you never get to see it because you're terrible with your credit, but you get the benefit of riding on their credit. That's called an authorized user. So if you haven't done that for your children or your spouse or your girlfriend and they need it, do that. So I talk about positives, I talk about negatives, I talk about their credit goals, right? Because not everyone wants to buy a house. Some people just want to be in a better apartment. Some people want a different zip code, but they don't want to buy. Some people don't have a car and need a car. Some people want to be able to send their kids to college and sign their student loans, right? Everyone has different goals. And so their goals helps me determine the best and most effective way for them to engage with me. And I also need to know whether they're serious about it, because I can tell you right now, a lot of people I talk to are like, yes, I want to. And I'm like, why'd your credit score go down? Oh, because girl, I had to pay my deposit for my cruise. That's an actual conversation I've had.
I can believe that. People and priorities, man.
So I talk about those things because, first of all, this is what I do for a living. Like for real, I'd rather be reading, playing Roblox or Xbox with my son. So if I'm spending my time, energy, and money with somebody, I want to make sure they're committed to their own goals. You told me what your goal was, and then you decide not to pay or overspend because you want to. Never mind. I ain't talking to y'all.
Do people ever relapse? Like you fix their credit and then they're back in like 2 years or a year?
All the time. I did it myself. When I first fixed my credit, my first car that I bought was 24.99% interest.
Ooh.
I paid $40,000 for a $27,000 7-year-old Saturn SO1.
What?
You should have got a bicycle.
My gosh.
I was living in Chicago at the time and I didn't have a car and I needed one. And I was selling real estate, so I had to have a car. And that was what I needed. I put $500 down and I walked out of there with my car. And relapses. Oh, somebody in my Facebook said relapse is a part of recovery. I learned a valuable lesson when I spent almost $50,000 when I finished paying it off, it was a 10-year-old car. Right. And so I decided then I need to fix my credit. I can't live this life. And you relapse because life gets a hold of you. Right. When I had my son and didn't have a job, I had to use my credit. Okay. That's what it's there for, right? I knew I couldn't buy anything with it. I couldn't buy, like I say, steam off a hot dog, but I needed it. So I had it and I used it. Then I paid it back off and got my credit score back up. So this is not meant to be 850. It's not meant to be that, right? Get yourself in the best position when you need it and garden it as you go, right? Weed it when you need to, get new credit as you need it, pay it down, keep your eye on it. So relapse it's going to happen. You get to over 800. I've been there twice in my life and I'm not there now. It happens.
Can you go over the 4 types of credit you say we should have again?
Yep. So you want to have a credit card that is revolving credit, right? So that is from a major bank issuer, right? A retail card. So that is like if you go to
Macy's.
Home Depot. Exactly.
Home Depot.
Macy's. Best Buy. Not the Visa or the MasterCard, but their in-house retail card. Fingerhut is one that I tell people.
I was
all the time.
just going to ask you about that because I keep getting those things in the mail.
Listen, I don't know what your credit score is, but Fingerhut is a great way to balance out your credit. And what I love, and I just told one of my prospects this today. She only has 2 credit cards. And I said, do you have Fingerhut? She said, yes. I said, well, then you have 3. And she was like, well, tell me about Fingerhut. I haven't purchased anything.
Yeah.
I said, first of all, you want to use it every single 11 months. So because they'll close it if you get to 12 months without using it. Any retail card you use that you have, you want to make sure that you're using it at least once a year. I say every 11 months. All right. Because if you don't, they're going to close it. So you get that nice little J. Crew and you're like, oh, I got credit, $250. If you don't use it, they're going to close it. Now, if you don't like anything from J. Crew, it's okay. Buy something, hold on to it for 3 days, take it back. That's a use. I gave that to you for free.
Oh, wow.
Right?
That's dope.
I got to get an explosion on.
Because those are some of the things I look on there are like so expensive. It's like, why would I even pay for this? So, but no, you just put me on to something.
Well, and think about Fingerhut this way. It is not meant to be how you furnish your house or how you, right? It's not meant. So I bought Zion's Christmas gift, his new Madden game on Fingerhut and paid it off the next month. Now and they gave me an almost $2,000 increase because I spent $30 in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
What that did is, remember, we talked about amounts owed. So it took the amount owed even lower. The amount of my utilization shrunk because my available credit increased, right? So it's a game.
Can you go into that a little bit more about increasing, like requesting higher lines and increasing your credit and the benefits of that?
Yep. So let me finish the question about the 4 types of credit, and
yes.
then I'm going to talk about increases. So you've got your credit cards. That is from your major Discover, Visa, American Express, right? MasterCard. Then you've got your retail cards. Then you've got a student loan, or you've got a car payment, or you've got a mortgage, or you've got, right, something like that, a personal loan. Say you go to your credit bureau or your bank and they give you a $500 personal loan, right? That's the 4 types. All right. Now, as it relates to increases, if you've had your card any length of time and they have not given you an increase, pick up the phone and say, hey, Susie, I've had this card this length of time and I'm a great user of your credit. Can I get an increase? If they say no, then say, well, what about you decrease the interest rate on my card? And if they say no, then say, all right, thank you. And you call back. And you do that 5 times. 5 times is my rule. Try it 5 times. So call back and talk to somebody else.
Over what span of time?
Immediately. Same day.
Oh, wow.
You can, or once a month. It doesn't matter. Because what you're trying to do is either get your interest rate lower or your credit limit higher. Either one of those will help your credit score. All right. A lot of times you can ask them, is this going to be a hard pull or a soft pull? So I know some people are like, whoa, what is that? A hard pull is when you have to put in your whole social security card number and you get an inquiry. A soft pull is when they don't do an inquiry and they're basing it on your relationship with them. So if you're online and they ask you only for the last 4 of your social, right? If you're doing a pre-approval request, so Capital One has this nice little thing where you can go in and see if they've pre-approved you. I think that Chase does it as well. You just put in the last four of your social. They're just using it to identify you. They're not using it to pull your credit. That's called a soft pull. It should say someplace on the page, no impact to your credit score, right? That's a soft pull. So when you go for an increase on an existing line of credit, they're going to look at your relationship with them, and they're going to do a soft pull if they need to. Generally, they don't even need to do that because they see what your relationship is. Did that answer your question about the increases? How to get one?
Yeah. I just wanted, so people can understand out there and understand that getting a credit increase is going to lower your utilization down, right?
It's huge. And let me tell you, when people say, oh my God, they tried to give me $10,000 and I only took 1,000. I said, girl, if you don't get off my phone, because I know that we're all afraid, right? And we talked about this at the top of the podcast, being afraid. You got to get past fear. Bottom line, you've got to understand how to use your credit responsibly, and that it's a good thing to have good credit, right? So if they're offering you 10,000, take the 10,000 and use 100 of it.
Yeah. You want to have the credit, but you don't want to depend on the credit.
Exactly. You don't want to abuse it, right? Credit should not be used for your birthday party unless you're going to pay it off down to 3% of that usage within 30 days. It should not be used to go shopping on the weekends unless you're going to pay it off down to 3%. And I can say that over and over again as many times as I got to knock it in the folks' head. Use your credit, but use it wisely and pay it down to under 10% and above 1% every month before the statement date. Don't be afraid. Be courageous. Be smart.
That's good. That's good pointers.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, speaking of relating to Credit Karma, I had, when was it? About a couple years ago. I had went to my credit union to ask them for an increase on my credit card, and I looked at my numbers on Credit Karma. So I was very confident. I was like, "There's no way that they could turn me down." Whatever. I was like, "Whatever." At least give me a good higher limit or something like that. Yeah. So I went in, talked to them, whatever, and then they came back and he said, "Oh, your score is this." I said, "What?" I said, "I haven't had that score in like over three or 4 years. My score has been that low. Like, where are you pulling this from?" And they was like, they got it from Equifax. And I said, "Yeah, Equifax, my thing is fine. It's up there. Like, where are you getting this from?" And then they're like, well, we seeing this, we seeing that, and we're using this type of score. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But I said, well, all we could do is give you this amount. Yes. And I was like, you know what, just forget it then, man. I don't even want that. Because to me, it's like a slap in the face, and I think you guys are lying because Credit Karma says this, and this, what you're telling me is like 200 points, almost 200 points lower than what I'm seeing. I don't know how you're getting that. What do you think happened in that scenario?
So remember, Credit Karma uses Vantage Score 3.0 on the TransUnion scale. And so what happens is that, and I've got something on my Facebook page that I talk about scoring. So where your Vantage score may show you at 699, your FICO would be lower, right? The bottom line is all of these have there's different models. There's scoring models. And when I tell you there's hundreds of them, I'm not kidding. So even FICO, which is, the gold standard, has hundreds literally of ways they can score you. Your credit bureau, your credit union, and I'm with Navy Federal, they actually have their own scoring model. So it actually doesn't even use FICO and it doesn't use Vantage. They have their own scoring model. Wow. I don't know who your credit.
Tropical Financial.
Right. So they have
I also have Navy Federal too, but.
So they will look. So when I go to Navy Federal, my actual, even though I've got great lines of credit with them, my score is way lower than my FICO 3.0 because they have a different scoring model.
Makes sense now. I thought they were lying.
All about risk. it's all about managing their risk. They have a lower model because they don't want you to think, they don't want to give you more money without charging you more for it. So it's all about, they have a higher risk, they have a lower risk threshold than say a Chase would. That's why they use a different scoring model.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And it's frustrating, right? Because
Very.
you think you're going in there balling out like,
yes.
give me, and they're like, if you don't, right? So
yes,
it is frustrating, but I promise you, if you keep up that relationship, and by the way, had you taken that amount and went back to them in 6 or 7 months, they generally will review you every 7 months. If you took it and went back to them showing responsible use, they would have given you more.
No, I know.
Be patient with the process.
Looks like we have some questions on Mixcloud. You think you could switch it over so we can see it? Somebody just text us that we have some questions for you. Hold on one second.
Hang on. Here we go. Mixcloud.
Where did you learn all this stuff, by the way?
I am a credit nerd. I've been doing credit for about 10 years, off and on, starting with my own. After that, I bought that Saturn and have just been, doing it over the course of time, both personal and business credit building. And you have to learn. I mean, I just saw it as a necessity. And I found my mom's mortgage papers and I was flabbergasted. They took advantage of her because she didn't know about credit. 17%, y'all.
Wow.
Because she didn't know about credit.
So I see one question from David is asking, is there such a thing as too much available credit?
Too much available credit. No. The sweet spot is, 3%. But no, sky is the limit. Have as much as you want as long as you're using it responsibly.
That one says, we have another one that says, how do you build business credit and should you use that in lieu of your personal credit?
Depends.
I need to know that too.
All right. So business credit. First of all, anytime you have a business, you should be leveraging your business always. No matter what your corporate structure is, you should not be using personal credit to manage your business finances. All right. The reason that you have a business credit, a business EIN and a Duns and Bradstreet number and all of that is, and you've incorporated it somehow, is that to protect yourself, right? Not just because you have a pretty name, Shutters by Us. No, it's there to protect you from a liability perspective. But there are so many advantages to using your business credit as opposed to your personal credit. And by the way, you shouldn't just wing it as relates to doing your business. So you need to find your good financial, legal, and business advisors. Obviously, if you have business, you've established it via, your Department of Secretary of State here in Florida's department called SunBiz.
Mm-hmm.
You have your EIN, you've got your DUNS number, and you open your business bank account. If you do not have a business bank account and you have a business, you've got a problem, right? Because there's no way that you should. That's like step 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5 being open the business account, creating your email that matches it, even if it's just a Gmail, right? So I have CreditFixDiva as my domain, but I also have CreditFixDiva@gmail.com. You want to make sure you do that. And as you start building your business, you need to leverage someone who knows how to help you build your business credit. Now, there's lots of information on the internet. Please do search for that. But there is a way to do it the right way. There's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 business credit. Tier 1 would be your Quill, your Uline, there's a couple of other companies that will extend to you net 30s. Tier 2 would be a Best Buy and a couple other ones that will actually give you a net 30, but they require Home Depot. AutoZone is another one. So that's tier 2. So tier 1, basic. Tier 2, a little more advanced. Tier 3 is when you can go in and get a Visa or a MasterCard or get a line of a collateral loan through your bank. Because you've used Dun & Bradstreet, which is the reporting vehicle for business credit. NAV also reports business credit as well. There's a couple others that do. Because you've built these tiers up, you have what's called a legitimate business, a legitimate operating structure. And there's lots of things that you have to do that. But the first thing is make sure you have all of your foundation. You've got a business, everything is in line from a business perspective. At least you've registered everything.
Do you advise people on the business side of credit as well, or just personal?
I do. I have actually have a company called Biz Credit Diva, and I help people get to where they want to be. My goal is if they're following the program, and again, that's part of what I do. I say, all right, tell me about your goals. Can you promise me you'll stay engaged for 6 months? We have a money back guarantee of $50,000 of non-personally guaranteed business credit if you follow our program.
Wow, that's good.
The big if is if you follow our program.
Yes, which can be hard, I guess, for some people. It can be hard.
Listen, it's not easy. It shouldn't be though. You're going to be going in someplace and saying, "Hey, can you give me $100,000?" Right? So there are levels there. You got to again take your time with it. There's a patient approach that you have to have.
We had another question.
Everything should be running through your business. So let me just give you. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt.
That's fine. Go ahead.
But I was just in Puerto Rico for Christmas and had a great time looking at real estate for my business, Gemstar Homes, Florida, LLC.
Wow.
I'm ready for your question. I hope everybody caught that.
I caught it.
Okay.
If you go back to the other screen, I think someone had asked a question about NACA, I believe it was.
I love NACA. Okay.
Yeah, NACA, yes. What do you think about it? Tiffany 13 asked about it.
Yes. So if you don't know about NACA, go to their website, NACA, and sign up for one of their webinars. NACA is amazing. It does not require credit. It is a long process. It can be arduous. All of the things that I talk to you about tonight are things they're going to make sure that you show them. So they're going to need to see how you're saving. They're going to need to see that you're not overspending. They're going to need to see your credit score increasing, even if it's not credit dependent. They're going to need to see you being responsible, right? They also have as a requirement that you volunteer to help somebody else. So remember, that was on one of my slides, right? Help somebody else. So NACA will then, their home purchase program will lead you down the path of home ownership. They give you all the resources. They assign you a counselor and they walk you through that process. You do not have to use your credit. And generally, they actually help you with your down payment and your closing costs. By the way, if you're buying a house and you're making a full price offer or anything close to a full price offer, please do make sure that you ask for your closing costs to be paid for by your seller. There is no reason that you, with no money and or little credit, should be paying closing costs on a house that you qualify for. Your seller should be able to work with you on that. Ask your realtor about that or your real estate agent. NACA is great. There's also a lot. Let me just give you a quick list. HomePath is great, right? They actually are a website, homepath.com. Here in Florida, floridahousing.org. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, Department of Housing and Urban Development. All of these companies, all of these agencies or companies have ways to help you get ready for home purchase. So you want to use everything. Here in Miami, we have the Miami-Dade County Affordable Home Ownership Program. You want to link in with them and find out what they have for you. And all of these I found, my friends, by using my search bar. Use your search engine.
Just put in a little bit of work, a little bit of time and work. Okay. You good?
It's just a lot of information you gave. I mean, I thought I knew something, but I really didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. But luckily we recorded this because I really needed a pen and a pad to write all this stuff you were talking about. But I'm gonna go back and watch the show again when he finishes editing it and write all this stuff down.
Well, and you can always reach out to me. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I am at www.creditfixdiva.com. I'm on Instagram as Dawn the Fixer. I'm on Facebook as the Credit Diva. So if you need me, look for Dawn Clark. I am the Credit Diva. Creditfixdiva.com is probably the best way to get, to remember how to get to me.
Yeah, so we have your information up. Well, at least Instagram for now, so that they can reach you. So hopefully they're taking that information down. Because yeah, you provided a wealth of knowledge today. Definitely, you
Yay.
schooled me.
Awesome.
You schooled me.
Yes. Let's get it.
Yes.
Knowledge is power.
It sure is.
All right, Ms. Clark, we want to thank you once again for coming out here on the Here Goes Nothing podcast. This is our Friday night stream live. As you can see, we're trying to do some positive things in the community and, just not do the same old, each one teach one, try to bring people up.
Yes.
Because the knowledge is out there. We want to share it. And there's lots of things that, people can do to improve their lives. And you dropped some heavy gems on us tonight. I have to get my kids added onto my credit cards, but yeah. So
Over
once
the
again,
age of 16. By the way, if you have a business or 4 like I do, make sure your children work for your business. Make sure you give them some responsibility, stuff in envelopes, cleaning your office, wiping off your computer monitor, something that's tangible that they can do in the name of the business. Zion has been an employee now for 3 years. Get them on one of your podcasts, have them draw some pictures, and you can get, they can earn up to $12,000, which gives you a tax break. So please do take advantage.
Hold on now.
Business.
So you actually, you
Right.
have Zion
All
on
right.
the payroll?
Zion is on the payroll. Let me tell you, have you seen that boy's shoes?
So in that case, you write checks out to him in his name, or how do you handle that?
I transfer money to his account the same way I transfer money to mine. So on payday, he gets paid, and I also get paid. I also have stash accounts for him. So he has a custodial account through Stash that he has picked his own stocks. So he uses
That's
part of
what's
his
up.
allowance to invest. So he gets $10 a week for emptying the trash and keeping his room clean. Unfortunately, that doesn't apply to Legos. If y'all saw my recent Facebook post, but he has $5 to spend on himself, and he normally buys pizza, and then $5 towards his investment. But he also has responsibilities with Dawn Clark Enterprises, Gemstar Homes of Florida, and with STEM Educators of America. He has 4 jobs. He has,
Wow.
one at
That's
home
what's
and
up.
3. And he gets paid, of
I
course.
got my daughter. She has Acorns.
Acorns is great. Listen, however you get there, I don't care. Drip $1 a week. My son is 9. Imagine when he turns 50,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Drip that money. We're gonna spend it anyway. Give them a little bit to play with and a little bit. And he knows. So when I first hooked him up with his account, I said, "What do you look around your room and tell me what you own?" He's like, "I have these tennis shoes." I said, "Nike." What else? He said, "I've got Xbox." I said, "Microsoft." What else? And he started bringing all this stuff. He picked up his deodorant. I said, "That's Johnson and Johnson." He picked up something else. I said, "That's this." And we actually picked out his stocks. And then so he plays Roblox, and Roblox is about to do an IPO.
Yes.
So I'm like,
yes, they are.
right?
We're waiting on that.
So get Roblox if your children do Roblox. There's also some other things. We can talk about that another time, but investing for these babies, get them in the idea, help them understand how important it is to invest in their future. And you can get them started by just pinching off a little bit of your money and giving to them incrementally. $5 a week, $2, I don't care, $2 a week. $1 a week. Do something for these babies, because the money is the stock is going to increase, right?
Yes.
Reinvest their dividends and put them on your payroll if you have a business.
Yeah, my son is 12, and every time we give him money, he's like, all he wants to do is invest. That's it. I'm like, what kind of 12-year-old does that? But I'm proud of him,
one
though.
Day he may not want to, but it will never leave his consciousness. He will come back to it because Daddy taught him that.
No, he wants to do it. He wants to do it on his own.
He needs to teach you something. Then.
Yeah, he takes all his money and invests. That's all he wants to do.
Hey, kids think different nowadays, man.
Yeah.
My days, we just wanted to go outside and run around.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Jump off
And
a
listen,
roof.
I've got one of my friends in Atlanta, and I know we're probably over, but one of my friends in Atlanta, he has a son that started YouTube streaming about 4 years ago. His name is Christopher. Those of you who know Jamal used to own 6340 in Atlanta, but his son Christopher makes about several $1,000s just talking on YouTube.
Oh
He
yeah.
has advertisers. He's
Oh, yeah.
monetized his platform, and he sits in his room. He's an introvert. He sits there and makes money. He's had to loan his dad money before.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the kid make. They had a kid they reported made I think $7 million, and all he
Right.
did was unbox toys and talk about them.
That's, listen,
And then you have Ryan's World. I
Oh,
think he came in at
yeah.
20 something million.
Wow. You could get paid for anything.
and we're all at home. We're all doing this right every day.
Exactly. Getting paid for your talents, man, not working
Right.
for somebody.
Exactly. So yes, use your children as tax write-offs. / involve them in your business.
That's what's up.
Yes.
All right, then. So once again, we want to thank you for coming out. and
Definitely.
joining us
Thank
on
you.
the show, and hopefully we'll have you back at some point in
Wait,
time.
see if there's one more question. Let's see if there's another. If we got one more question.
You think on Mixcloud?
Yeah. Let's see if anybody else posted something else up.
Bring it on.
This thing is so tricky here, man. Where is it? There it is. Let's see.
No, there's.
We answered. No, I think we answered everything we needed to.
Yes.
So we good
All right.
on that front. So we want to say
Thank you. Thank
you
you
for
very
coming
much.
out.
Thank you.
it's the Here Goes Nothing podcast, Friday night live stream. You were here. You were live with us when we had Dawn Clark, the credit diva, giving you all the insight on credit and what you need to be doing in life and how to get your stuff together. And you can find her on Facebook. What's the Facebook again?
So you can go to creditfixdiva.com is the easiest way. That
There you
takes you
go.
right to my Facebook.
Creditfixdiva.com, people. Creditfixdiva.com.
And there you have it once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn, and I hope you have a good night. Thanks for the wealth of information. We really appreciate it, for real. We do.
Absolutely my pleasure. Enjoy your weekend, gentlemen. See you next week.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. That
Well,
was
here goes
dope.
nothing.
All right, Rondu, are we going to get some music back on?
yeah, we can get some. What time is it?
There's music. I'm in. Turn it up.
Matter of fact, what do you want to hear, Dawn? What would you like to hear?
So I'm a soca person. You can put on some Patrice. You can listen.
Hey, you ever heard 100% Voice International? We're going to give you some of that right now. Can we get some of that, Rondu? Can we get some Voice International?
Sure, we can
get
do
Love
that.
Soca So Bad or Jab Jab? All right, then. It's the Here Goes Nothing podcast, Friday nights. Live stream at 10. Mixcloud.com. You can find us at www.mixcloud.com/live/bricklayers. And we'll be here every Friday bringing you the goodness.
So, which song you wanted from?
You can give us the Jab Jab. What'd you play earlier? I don't remember.
I think All Woman.
Okay, that is the Jab. So give us the Love Soca So Bad. Or Bubble Over. Any one of those. It's the Here Goes Nothing podcast, y'all.
My girl bubble over. Hey, my girl bubble over. My girl bubble over. Pick up, my girl bubble over. Back over. Once again, hey, my girl bubble over. Back it up on a big bulldozer. Like a pressure cooker hot on the stove. Bubble over, girl bubble over. My girl bubble over. Back it up on a big bulldozer. Like a pressure cooker hot on the stove. Bubble over, girl bubble over. When you hear this one, split in the middle, drill your bum bum. You know business with what them say. You a wife on a woman, girl a third man a man. Alright, attention, holy position, girl firm and strong. Oh my God, what a fire will stand. Tell me again, girl, me see where you come from. One time, my girl bubble over. Back it up on a big bulldozer. Like a pressure cooker hot on the stove. Bubble over, girl bubble over. My girl bubble over. Back it up on a big bulldozer. Like a pressure cooker hot on the stove. Bubble over, girl bubble over. Bring him up where you can work it. If a man breaks that, don't hurt it. Camera a flick on the road, you no stop and you catch me. Say my girl pose it. Enough man see it and want
Pose it.
You a give them the wine, you no boring.
If y'all don't know who this is Voice International 100% region. Hailing live from the Rock, from the VI. Soca Massive. You can find this CD So Bad on
on a big bulldozer.
Most streaming outlets.
On the sofa, bubble over.
Spotify, iTunes.
Alright, left, right, left.
So bad. SOOBAAD.
Left, right, left, right, left, right. Work the bumper. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Front and center. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Work the bumper. My gal bubble over. Back it up on a big bulldozer. Like a fish a cook a hot on the stove. Bubble over, gal bubble over. My gal bubble over. Back it up on a big bulldozer.
Once again, it's a Here Goes Nothing Friday night live stream.